I had this thing where they lifted up my mouth, and then for the first week, I'm like, I can hardly feel my mouth.
I wanted to look a certain way. I wanted to look the best version of myself, knowing that I was going on national television. And I went to somebody to do my Botox that I hadn't been to before. And he told me that he was medically trained. I believed him, as so many of us do. I later found out that he was a property developer. He had put too much Botox into my forehead.
Have you ever watched a famous face try to smile and nothing happened? The mouth moves, but the forehead stays perfectly still. The eyes don't crinkle. Something deep inside you whispers, that's not right. That feeling has a name, frozen face. And today, we're counting down 16 stars whose faces slowly stopped moving. Some of them couldn't feel their own mouth. One woman's forehead was completely paralyzed by a man who wasn't even a doctor. And number one, her own family kept asking why she was snarling at them. She wasn't. Her face was just stuck. Stay with me to the end. Let's start with the story that honestly scared me the most because she's so young. Faye Winter, the sweetheart from Love Island, UK, famous in Britain before she even hit 30. And in her 20s, Faye got Botox from someone she trusted.
Yeah, I think I've been on quite a big journey with obviously having tweakments done. I started when I was 21.
Except here's the horrifying part. She later found out the man injecting her face was actually a property developer, not a doctor, not a nurse, a property developer. And he put so much into her forehead that it completely stopped working.
And he had put too much Botox into my forehead.
Her own words, I couldn't move it. It was paralyzed, and I literally had to wait it out, not knowing if it was or wasn't going to come back.
And my full forehead, obviously Botox is a paralyzing.
Imagine that, a young woman staring at a mirror every day, eyebrows flattened, eyelids drooping, crying every single time she saw herself, just waiting and praying her face would wake up again. And her lip filler? Done by someone who'd taken a one-day course after working in fast food. She's since had it all dissolved and now fights publicly for stricter rules, so no other young girl goes through what she did. From the youngest face on this list to the most famous new facelift on the planet. Number 15 is the face the entire internet argued about in 2025. Kris Jenner, the famous momager of the world's most watched family. In May 2025, she stepped out in Paris looking so dramatically different that fans genuinely mistook her for her own daughter, Kim. And unlike most stars, Kris owned it immediately. She confirmed a brand new facelift from a top New York surgeon, saying it was simply time for a refresh. The result was incredibly smooth, almost too smooth, because that's exactly where the debate exploded. Millions studied her face looking for the tiny natural movements of a woman turning 70 and couldn't find them. The skin looked flawless, but many said it read as still, like a beautiful photograph instead of a moving face. Then came the viral twist. Months later, at a big premiere, fans swore the result had already changed, and one line spread everywhere. The facelift dropped so fast. Tabloids even claimed she was furious and wanted a redo, which she firmly denied, insisting, "I love my facelift." Whatever the truth, her face became the most analyzed surgery of the decade. Proof that even with all the money and the best surgeon in the world, the frozen debate still finds you. But number 14 dissolved everything for the most heartbreaking reason imaginable. Number 14 made her choice because of her grandmother, and it genuinely got me. Charlotte Crosby, the loud, lovable British reality star from Geordie Shore, famous for that huge, unstoppable laugh. But as fame grew, so did the injections. For 8 straight years, Charlotte layered filler on top of filler in her lips and cheeks, never letting the old product fade first. And it didn't just sit there. It moved. It crept above her lip line. It puffed her cheeks up so much that her famous wide laugh shrank into a tight, restricted stretch. Britain noticed, and the mockery got so intense, there was literally a television documentary made about her changing face. But here's the part that breaks your heart. Her beloved grandmother, who had always hated the artificial look, passed away, and Charlotte knew exactly how her Nana felt about those lips. So in late 2022, she filmed the whole painful process of having 8 years of filler dissolved. The bruising, the deflating, all of it, publicly. She admitted her chase for the perfect face had left her looking swollen and stiff, and she wanted herself back. And slowly, that real laugh returned. But number 13 needed his own little boy to tell him the truth. Number 13 built an entire career on one thing, His facial expressions, Simon Cowell, the eyebrow raise, the unimpressed stare, that famous scowl that could end a singing career in 2 seconds. So think about how strange it is that the most expressive judge on television slowly lost the ability to make those faces. Over the years, the Botox and filler crept up quietly, because in his own words, everyone on TV has it, until one day he looked at an old photo and got the shock of his life. He said, "I saw a picture of me from before the other day and didn't recognize it as me first of all." He even admitted he looked like something out of a horror film. But the real wake-up call? His little son Eric took one look at his dad's puffed-up face and burst out laughing. His own child. Fans were harsher, flooding his videos with comments that he looked like an AI version of himself, until the comments got switched off completely. So Simon did the simplest thing possible. He stopped everything. His words now? "There is no filler in my face at all. Zero." And slowly, the scowl we all know came back to life. But number 12's own castmates said she'd had a head transplant. Number 12 is being fact-checked by the people sitting right next to her on camera. Dorit Kemsley from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, Dorit insists she's barely touched her face. Her words at a reunion show? "A little Botox and filler. That's all I've ever done on my face." She even joked in her book about the wild rumors, saying she's heard everything up to face transplant. But girl, her own co-stars were not letting it slide. Lisa Vanderpump famously quipped that Dorit must have had a head transplant because her face doesn't look anything like it did when she started. Another castmate delivered the icy line, "When you've had enough surgery, anybody can be pretty," on camera, to millions of viewers. And every single season, fans repeat the same phrase online. New season, new face for Dorit. The frozen face part is what viewers describe watching her in motion. A face that looks fuller and smoother in every photo, but reads stiffer and less familiar every year, until longtime fans say recent pictures don't even look like her. Now, to be fair, only she knows the truth. But when the people who see you every single day are joking about a head transplant, the mirror at home is telling a very different story than the cameras. And number 11 finally screamed, "Enough is enough." Number 11 physically fought her way back to her own face, and I respect it so much. Angela White, who the world knew for years as Blac Chyna. She built an entire empire on an exaggerated, heavily filtered look. Massive filler in her jaw to square it off. Cheeks pushed up to sharp, unnatural peaks.
I'm actually on my way to go get these fillers dissolved from my cheeks and from my jawline.
Lips inflated way past their natural shape. And all of that product came with a price nobody talks about. Weight. Actual physical weight sitting inside her face. The filler was so heavy and so stiff that her expressions barely worked anymore. A permanent pout, cheeks that stayed rigidly high no matter what emotion she felt. Then, in 2023, came a genuine awakening. She stood up and told the world, "Enough is enough. It all has to come out." It totally changed my face.
Enough is enough. It all has to come out. I ain't even worried about no stinging. I just want it out.
I'm just ready to get back to Angela. And she meant it. She filmed session after painful session of dissolving injections, melting away years of hardened filler from her jaw, her cheeks, her lips. Watching her face slowly soften back into itself was honestly moving. She wasn't chasing a trend. She was escaping one. She literally dissolved a whole persona to find her real face underneath. But number 10 has been famous for 60 years, and fans say his face hasn't moved for 20 of them. Number 10 is a living Las Vegas legend with a face fans describe as shrink-wrapped. Wayne Newton, Mr. Las Vegas himself. The velvet voice, the dazzling stage charisma that filled casinos for 6 decades. But somewhere along the way, Wayne decided aging was simply not on the set list. Now, he's never laid out every procedure, so parts of this are what experts and fans believe from photos. But the changes are hard to miss. The skin pulled remarkably tight across his cheekbones, eyes that sit wide and glassy after what observers believe were repeated eyelid surgeries, a forehead that stays perfectly smooth through every note he sings. And here's the moment it all went viral. Wayne appeared on The Bachelorette to coach contestants through a singing challenge. And instead of talking about the music, the entire internet talked about his face. Viewers compared him to a wax figure, saying only his jaw seemed to move while everything else stayed completely still. And that's the quiet tragedy here. This is a man whose whole magic was warmth, charm, connection, the little winks and grins that made audiences fall in love for 60 years. When a face like that stops moving, it's not just a cosmetic story. It's a performer losing his instrument. But number 9 shocked everyone by suddenly looking better. Number 9 spent decades as fashion's most famous frozen face, then flipped the script on everybody. Donatella Versace, the platinum blonde queen of Italian fashion, who took over the Versace empire after unthinkable family tragedy. For nearly 30 years, her look was the punchline of cruel jokes worldwide. Skin described as stretched so tight it had, in one analyst's words, a frozen-like texture. Lips inflated past the point of natural movement, a glossy stillness that fans said made her look permanently preserved. She's never confirmed the details, so the specifics remain expert speculation, but nobody argued about what they saw. And then, late 2024 happened. Donatella stepped out at premiere events with a noticeably softer, lifted, more natural face, and the internet lost its mind in the opposite direction. Comments flooded in like, whoever did her new face, wow, just wow, and people begging to know the name of her new surgeon. Experts believe the transformation came from modern lifting techniques, plus actually removing old product rather than adding more. Think about that. The woman who symbolized the frozen era for a generation may have found her way back by taking things out. If Donatella can partially thaw after 30 years, there's hope for every face on this list. But number 8 has been called the most operated face in all of Britain. Number 8 has spent more time in surgery clinics than some doctors. Katie Price, the former British glamour model who became one of the UK's most famous and most scrutinized celebrities. Katie has never hidden her surgeries. If anything, she's documented them, openly flying abroad for facelift after facelift, stacking procedure on top of procedure for over 2 decades.
I haven't had a full facelift. Right. Now, I have been in the industry since I was 17. I haven't rehearsed what I'm saying, but everyone always says the same thing. And what I say to them, I broke my feet last year. We'll start with the body first.
Reports around her 2024 work described brow lifts, eyelid surgery, and fillers, layered onto everything that came before. And that stacking is exactly the problem, because every procedure tightens a little more. Every lift pulls a little further until the face simply runs out of room to move. In her most operated phases, photos show skin that looks pulled and glossy, with a smoothness fans describe as fixed rather than natural. The British tabloids have used her face as the definition of too far for years. But here's the part I want to say gently. Katie's surgeries have often come during genuinely painful chapters of her life, and the media obsession with her body has been its own kind of cruelty for 25 years. So this isn't mockery, it's concern. Because when the surgeries never stop, the face never gets to just rest and be a face. Meanwhile, number 7 said 5 words that explain this entire video. Number 7 gave us the most honest sentence in Hollywood, and most people missed it. Nicole Kidman, the Oscar-winning Australian icon, one of the finest dramatic actresses alive. And for 2 decades, her famously smooth forehead has been discussed so much, it basically became a meme. Writers have literally described their own Botox results as looking a lot like Nicole Kidman's, a sea of frozen muscles. But here's what makes Nicole different. She admitted it herself years ago, and her confession is stunning when you actually read it. She said, "I did try Botox, unfortunately, but I got out of it, and now I can finally move my face again. Now I can finally move my face again." Sit with that for a second. One of the greatest actresses in the world, a woman whose entire job is expressing emotion on camera, describing the relief of getting her own face back, like it had been taken from her. Fans still debate her appearance in recent dramas, where some viewers felt her forehead stayed glassy through even the most emotional scenes. She's never confirmed anything surgical, and credits sunscreen and genetics. But that one honest quote tells you everything about how easy it is to lose your face, and how precious it feels to get it back. Number 6 created the single most talked about frozen face moment of the decade. Madonna, the queen of pop. 4 decades of reinvention, and a face that once defined an entire generation of beauty. Then came February 2023, the Grammy Awards. Madonna walked on stage to introduce a performance, and within minutes, her face was trending worldwide. Under those harsh close-up cameras, her cheeks looked inflated and taut, her features smoothed into a stillness that millions of viewers couldn't reconcile with the icon they'd grown up watching. One viewer wrote, "If they hadn't announced it was Madonna, I wouldn't have known who was presenting." The cruelty was instant and global. Madonna fired back hard, blaming distorted long-lens photography and calling out ageism against women. And honestly, she had a point about the double standard. But 2 weeks later, she posted a softer photo with a very telling caption. "Look how cute I am now that swelling from surgery has gone down. LOL." A rare, joking admission that a procedure was behind that swollen, static night. And here's the hopeful ending. In her more recent appearances, a noticeably more mobile, more recognizable Madonna has re-emerged, suggesting the worst of it was was temporary. The queen, it seems, quietly course-corrected. But number 5 cried real tears over her frozen era. Number 5 got frozen on camera in front of millions, then got punished for it. Kristin Davis, our sweet, expressive Charlotte, whose whole charm lived in those animated apple cheeks and that warm, wide smile. When the reboot arrived, Kristin was standing next to decades-old footage of her younger self every single episode. The pressure must have been unbearable. She'd turned to fillers, and on screen, fans noticed her cheeks looked fuller and stiffer, her expressions flattened, the warmth harder to find. The internet's response was merciless, and Kristin's honesty about the pain still gets me. She said, "I've had to get them dissolved, and I've been ridiculed relentlessly, and I have shed tears about it. It's very stressful." But she also explained the trap better than any doctor could. She pointed out, "You don't smile at yourself in the mirror. Who smiles at themselves in the mirror? Crazy people," meaning you literally cannot see your own face in motion. You never watch yourself laugh, so you have no idea what the world sees. And her sharpest truth? You're trusting doctors. People personally blame us when it goes wrong, as if I jabbed a needle in my face. She dissolved it all, and her natural movement came back beautifully. But number 4 lost actual movie roles because of his face. Number 4 is the only star on this list whose frozen face officially cost him work. Mickey Rourke. In the 80s, one of the most beautiful, magnetic leading men alive. Then he left Hollywood to box, and the ring destroyed his face. Broken nose after broken nose, a crushed cheekbone. The surgeries that followed were meant to repair him. Instead, they spiraled. In his own words, "I went to the wrong guy to put my face back together." Over the years came repeated operations, implants, and fillers, layered over heavy scar tissue. And scar tissue is the cruelest freeze of all, because it can't be dissolved with a simple injection. It locks the face from the inside. The result was a stiff, mask-like stillness that changed his career forever. And here's the detail that hurts. A prominent casting director openly admitted vetoing Rourke for a leading role, saying, "His face looks so frozen after his recent operations. He just looks so strange now, so expressionless." Read that again. An actor rejected because his face physically could not act anymore. That's not gossip. That's a working man losing his livelihood to his own reflection. And through it all, Rourke kept his dark humor, once posting a bandaged selfie joking, "Now I am pretty again." But number 3 explained the science of the trap in one perfect sentence. Number 3 understood something about faces that most doctors never say out loud. Courteney Cox, forever our Monica from Friends. And think about what made Monica iconic. It was never just the lines. It was that hyper-expressive face, the wide-eyed shock, the competitive squint. That face was pure emotion, which is why it hit so hard when, in the mid-2000s, fans noticed her cheeks looking inflated and firm, her expressions tighter, her whole face subtly resistant to movement. Courteney later explained exactly how it happened. You don't realize that you look a little off, so then you keep doing more because you look normal to yourself.
I think I was getting older when I was really young. That's just a bummer, a waste of time. It's a domino effect. It's like you don't realize that you look a little off, so then you keep doing more because you look normal to yourself and you look in the mirror and go, "Oh."
You don't realize what it looks like to the outside person. It took honest friends telling her she didn't look like herself anymore, so she dissolved everything. But here's her masterpiece quote, the one that defines this entire video. She said, "You need movement in your face, especially if you have thin skin like I do. Movement, not smoothness, not tightness. Movement. That's what makes a face feel alive and human." She even admitted that the standard actor dose of Botox was way too much for her. Today, her face moves, crinkles, laughs, and looks wonderfully like Courteney again. But number 1 and number 2, these are the stories everything was building toward. Number 2 performed for the whole world at 78, and the internet couldn't stop staring at her stillness. Cher, the goddess of pop, 6 decades of hits, and one of the few stars who's always been up front, famously saying, "Yes, I've had a facelift, but who hasn't?" In October 2024, she headlined the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and her voice was as powerful as ever. But the comments told a different story. Her face is stiff, more plastic than human. She doesn't even look like Cher anymore. She was insanely beautiful. Ouch. What observers describe is the classic combination. Decades of lifting, layered with what experts believe are fillers through the cheeks, chin, and lips until the wrinkles are gone.
At the age of 53, I think this is where Cher may have had her first facelift. The jawline looks much more defined to me. And as you guys know, I like to look at the area around the ears to see if there are signs of scarring, especially any tragal changes.
But so is the motion. The wry, playful Cher expressions we grew up loving, replaced by a beautiful surface that barely shifts. Now, the filler details are speculation, since Cher only confirmed confirms the facelift and a few other procedures. And honestly, at nearly 80, performing in lingerie on a world stage, her confidence is untouchable. She's earned the right to do whatever she pleases, but that's exactly what makes her story so poignant. 60 years of maintaining one legendary face until permanence finally won out over expression. But number one couldn't even feel her own mouth. And here we are, number one, the most vivid frozen face testimony ever put on record. Sharon Osbourne, rock royalty, reality TV pioneer, and the most brutally honest woman in entertainment. In October 2021, Sharon had a full facelift that went catastrophically wrong. Her description still stops me cold. I looked like Cyclops. I had one eye here and one eye there, and my mouth was all skew-whiff. One eye pulled lower than the other, her mouth twisted. But the detail that makes this number one is what she revealed about an earlier lift on national television.
I've had facelift, neck done. Haven't had anything done to my eyes or lips. I never wanted those lippy.
She said the surgeons lifted up my mouth. And then, for the first week, I couldn't feel my mouth. I can hardly feel my mouth now. To be honest with you, she can hardly feel her own mouth. And the surgical tension left her stuck in an involuntary snarl. Her own family kept asking, "Why are you snarling at us?" And she had to explain she wasn't. Her face was just frozen that way. A second surgeon eventually repaired the damage. Then rapid weight loss stripped away her facial padding, making everything look even tighter and more drawn. By 2025, Sharon finally declared peace, saying she's done with all of it. "This is me. It's finally time to leave well alone." After decades of chasing perfection, the bravest thing she ever did was stop. So what actually happens inside a frozen face? Here's the simple science. Botox works by blocking the signal between your nerves and your muscles. A tiny bit softens a wrinkle, too much, too often, and the muscle stops working entirely. It can even shrink from years of disuse. Filler is different. It's weight, real physical weight sitting inside the face, and too much of it fights against your muscles every time you try to smile. And surgery pulled too tight, that leaves skin with nowhere left to travel. That's why Faye's forehead went silent, why Chyna's cheeks stayed rigidly high, and why Sharon got stuck mid-snarl. But here's the hopeful part. Botox wears off. Filler can be dissolved, and almost everyone on this list who stepped back got their face back. Because here's the truth this whole countdown proves. The most beautiful thing a face can do isn't look young, it's move. The crinkle when you laugh, the little flicker of a real smile reaching your eyes. That's what we fall in love with, and no needle has ever improved it. Which of these 16 stories shocked you the most? Tell me in the comments, because I genuinely read every single one. And if this one stayed with you, hit subscribe, because we've got so many more stories like this coming, and you do not want to miss what's next.